reports live outside of Kimball Hall with the latest.
Yeah, and if you take a look outside behind me, look at this beautiful sky. Not a single cloud in sight, but has this always been the case for early voting or elections in general for Washington County? All right, so when it came to this question of elections and weather interference here in Northwest Arkansas, I went and I dove through data going all the way back to 2004 with primary elections around the presidential election late year around 2004, 2008, 12, so on. I also talked to leaders of the Washington County Election Commission, and I spoke with Jennifer Price, who is the director of the Washington County Election Commission, and she told me that simply there haven't been any sort of weather impacts for these general elections later in the year in Northwest Arkansas. There was a couple of times when it came to earlier in the year, though, with elections that were closer to March, that there were a couple of elections where the courthouse had a little bit of an impact just due to snow and ice in the area, but there really wasn't any sort of impact to voter turnout when it came to Washington County. Fortunately, we have been, spared from weather impacts here in Northwest Arkansas, but elsewhere around the country, there have been elections where voter turnout was not as great when it came to winter weather, extreme weather events such as heavy rainfall, and even temperature variations. But for here in Northwest Arkansas, we really haven't had any sort of issues like that. In fact, between 2004 all the way through about 2012, the average temperature was around the 60s when it came to election time in November, with really no rainfall or anything like that. When it comes to elections this year, there have been clear days, as what you can see behind me, but that could change as we head into the later portion of October, early November, when my forecast is calling for the potential of a big weather change when it comes to the patterns. So keep that in mind. Get out while it is still beautiful like this. We had record-breaking temperatures today in the upper 80s, and I went to the courthouse. I went and voted. It was a packed house at the courthouse with all sorts of people getting their early votes in. So no weather impacts. We're not expecting any sort of weather impacts this week, but keep in mind once we get to the early portion of November, that could change. So get out before that pattern change swings into the area, and get out and get your voices heard. Reporting live for UATV, I'm Joshua Wisel.